Hi everyone, my name is Herkif and today we'll embark on yet another adventure in hardcore Minecraft. But as per usual, we've added a bit of a twist. In Minecraft, we've been spoiled with different forms of luxuries. Those include villager trading, where you can literally turn sticks into everything from diamond armor and tools to ender pearls. Naturally spawning hay bales, which you can turn into bread, completely solving your food situation for the early game. Shields, which allows you to completely ignore most types of incoming damage from in front of you, and many more. But for this challenge, we'll be going back in time to the year of 2011, a time where we didn't need to rely on prescription medication to get us through the week. That was mainly because we couldn't afford it due to the food crisis, but there was something else that happened that year. That of course being that Minecraft had its official release. And since we've entered a food crisis that, unlike 2011, seems to be permanent, I thought that it would make sense to also go back and play the oldest version of Minecraft. But now, you might be thinking to yourselves that we most definitely played before that, as a lot of us started playing back in beta, and this is a very accurate point. However, this is the oldest version of Minecraft where we had both the Ender Dragon as well as the hardcore mode, marking the start of my slow descent into the sea that is my current set of mental health disorders. So as always, sit back, relax, grab your favorite prescription medication and watch me bumble my way through this challenge. I started off by getting bestowed upon the world in a very graceful and distinguished fashion, then began the same old early game progression we've all come to know and love. That being to defile Mother Nature, grab some stone, craft some tools, and then use said tools to commence with a good old ethnical cleansing of various animals to get food. But this is where the challenge became rather apparent, as the first priority in all of the hardcore challenges I've taken on so far is to find a village to proceed with our violent crime-themed to-do list, as that would give us a few pieces of iron as well as however many arrows we want. However, that wasn't an option for us, so I had to go the incredibly old-fashioned way of mining gravel to get enough flint to craft arrows like some sort of looser. Though there was a silver lining to our situation, which was that this version hadn't yet made mining completely unviable by adding copper, meaning that finding iron was significantly easier than the current version, which was very epic. But as I was resource gathering, I didn't actually manage to find any sheep, meaning that I didn't have a bed, which was rather inconvenient as it turned to night. So I did what any brave, heroic and valorous man would do, that of course being to hide in a small hole and wait out the night in a very tactful and intelligent manner. I then used that time in the tactical hole to smelt the iron and food we had accumulated in a very humane and moral way earlier, though it didn't take long before I got bored due to my toddler-like level of patience. So I decided to risk my life by vacating the previously mentioned hole and make my way to some sheep that I decided to strip against their will so that I could craft myself a bed. But instead of returning to the safety of our hole, I decided to attempt to get my hands on string so that we could craft a bow, as I thought it might be rather advantageous to not get clapped into another dimension. And rather luckily, we did manage to get our hands on 3 pieces of string by the time it turned to daytime, which temporarily weakened my desire to consume the bottles of liquid you can find under your kitchen sink. Then continued our adventure of exploration, for which I decided to utilize a boat. I was then very pleasantly surprised by how easy it was to control, as I remembered it as being absolutely unusable. Once my boating trip had run its course, I went ashore and started tilling the ground in hopes of getting some seeds, but I rather quickly realized that this version had tall grass, meaning that my expenditure of acquiring a hoe was completely in vain. And when I had acquired some seeds, I then tried using them to breed the chickens that were residing on the island we had stumbled upon, but was swiftly informed that I am boosted, should sell my computer, and should probably go live in Taiwan as an attraction at a zoo, because breeding wasn't a thing in this version, which completely scuppered my entire game plan, which involved grabbing a bunch of feathers to make arrows so that we could actually use the bow that we had crafted earlier. So I deployed the most reliable and consistently effective strategy. I'm talking, of course, about genocide. And once we had accumulated enough arrows to stop a Mongolian invasion, I got started with our next step to complete this challenge, which was to go to the Nether, meaning that we needed to find a lava pool. This didn't take particularly long, which came as a surprise, but a very welcome one. I then got to constructing our Nether portal. However, since I am a very capable, intelligent and handsome young man, I had done some research and found out that the standard portals we usually make in lava pools don't actually work in this version of the game. And when I say research, I mean that I tried this challenge before and failed miserably. Once the portal was lit, I went through and immediately found not just one, but 2 nether fortresses, then began the farming of the blaze rods. And once I had grabbed 8 blaze rods, I made my way back to the overworld and started preparing for the next step, which was to acquire ender pearls. However, all of the methods to acquire ender pearls we usually use in modern Minecraft are out of the question, as we can't use bartering with piglins, as they don't exist yet. We can't trade with villagers, as in this version they are about as useful as me and my level of general skills in life. We can also not go to a warped forest, as those don't exist yet either. This meant that we had to resort to the most peasant-like method of ender pearl acquisition, that being to kill endermen in the overworld, which I wasn't particularly thrilled about, as I suspected that it was going to be about as fun and engaging as Concord, but it had to be done in order to complete this challenge. So I got to digging myself yet another cave for me to hide in, so that I could bully the endermen in an OSHA-approved fashion. I also placed down a bunch of boats right by my entrance in hopes of catching some random mobs, which I could also bully. But since this game seems to not be particularly fond of me, it started raining just as it became nighttime, meaning that I would have to leave the safety of my hole to bully the endermen. So I made my way over to the desert where we had found the lava pool for our nether portal, where I proceeded with the previously explained plan involving violent criminal activities. But I had spent the entire night killing as many endermen as I could. We had accumulated 2 pearls, meaning that we would probably have to spend an absolutely disgusting amount of time getting enough pearls to get to the end. But I then ran into a village which was rather interesting, so I ran in and stole their bookshelves. I have absolutely no idea what I was intending to use them for, but stealing is a rather good thing on its own. I also stole their only source of nourishment, which again, I had absolutely no use for, but rather just wanted the villagers to experience the same food crisis as we do in real life. And after having financially crippled the people who had welcomed me into their home, I got back to the task at hand, and after having spent 5 nights killing endermen, we had accumulated 8 ender pearls. This was obviously not enough, but I thought it might be a good idea to locate the stronghold so that we could jump straight into the ender dragon fight as soon as we get enough pearls. Once I had located the stronghold in a very epic, heroic, and incredibly valorous manner, I got on to spend yet another night killing endermen, and once it turned to daytime, we had a total of 9 pearls as well as 1 eye of ender. So I decided to dig my way down to the stronghold to see how many pearls we actually needed to activate the portal. By some absolute miracle, I actually managed to dig straight into the portal room, which I don't think has ever happened to me. However, it didn't stop there. The portal frames already had 3 eyes of ender, meaning that we could go to the end. So I jumped through the portal to initiate the battle of a lifetime. I started off in the exact same way we usually do, which is to take out all of the crystals. However, I rather quickly noticed that the dragon would randomly dive at me, meaning that I had to keep track of where the dragon was at the same time as taking out all of the crystals, which was rather daunting. The main reason was due to the fact that my multitasking capabilities leave a lot to be desired, as I'm barely able to walk and chew gum at the same time. But once I had somehow managed to take out all of the crystals, we got onto the dragon fight I had completely forgotten about, where the dragon doesn't perch, but rather dives at you where you have to shoot it. And after a rather surprisingly refreshing dragon fight, we were once again showered by the dragon's balls. I then realized that you get an absolutely stupid amount of XP, as I got to level 108, where I'd get to around 70 on the current version. But for some reason unbeknownst to me, I decided to farm some endermen for some pearls. With that, we had successfully completed the challenge. Though when I got back to the overworld, I decided to build a house. I have absolutely no idea why I did that. But here we are. I was, however, significantly too lazy to actually complete it. So there we have it. I beat Minecraft hardcore in its oldest version. I hope you enjoyed the ride as much as I did. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did. and let me know if there are any challenges you would like to see me take on. But anyways, I'll see you in the next one.